Oh, wow, look at this, Sam. This is wonderful, isn't it? I tell you what, I've been lucky enough to travel pretty well all over the world. You know, I've been walking in the foothills of the Himalayas, I've been swimming on the Great Barrier Reef, and I've even been in the jungle, you know, up the Amazon. But I tell you what, it's this that I love most of all. The British countryside. And I tell you what, this is a time capsule. This is how it was when I was your age. Wonderful, this lovely patchwork quilt of meadows, hedges, trees. Oh, build me shed there, I'll stop here. Tell you what, let's go and find out more about the hedges, shall we? Come on. You see, Sam, this is the sort of hedgerow I've been telling you about. It's sort of unmanaged. I mean, look how tall it is. Look how wide it is. I mean, when you think about this, this has got to be the biggest nature reserve in Britain. If you put all these end to end, from the top of Scotland right down to Land's End, biggest nature reserve in the country. Wow. And of course, the other thing it is, it's a wildlife corridor for creatures to move along. I mean, that is just full of insects, birds nesting, mammals, and wildflowers growing all the way along the bottom there. And look at all the different species. Which reminds me, have you any idea how you can tell the age of a hedge? How old do you think this hedge is?
I don't know, but I bet it's not as old as you.
Cheeky little thing, you. Well, I'm going to show you how to date an hedge. All right?
Yeah.
Come on, then. Oh, right. Oh, let's have a sit down. Oh, I needed that. Now, then, what you got to imagine, this is man-made, right? You know what I mean by man-made?
Yeah.
It's not natural. Okay. So, about 17th, 18th century, the only hedges were ones that were perhaps put in by the Anglo-Saxons, right? That was about 1,000 years ago. And they would be sort of marking parish boundaries and things like that. But what happened was, when people had things like cattle and that, they needed to keep them in. So about the 18th century, there was the enclosures, where they enclosed all the open spaces and they put hedges everywhere. They put what we call quicks in. This is hawthorn, right? And they put them pretty well everywhere where you can see them now. Now, what's happened is, over that period of time, you get other species have come in and joined the ones in here. Now, the boffins, that's the professors, that's the clever people, right? They worked it out that it takes roughly 100 years for a particular specimen to get into a hedge. So if we count how many specimens are in it, and it's in a 30-metre stretch, that roughly tells you how old that hedge is. And we do that over a couple of times, and then we can work out the age of this hedge. I reckon it is a bit older than me, you know. Come on, let's count the species. Oh, come on. Right, Sam, you put your stick in the ground. I will roughly mark out 30 strides, which is about 30 metres, okay?
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Woo! Right. All we've got to do now is identify the species and count them. Because you're good at maths, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm a math star.
Woohoo! We'll see how good you are. And then we do it all over again, and then we get the average.
Okay.
In years. Right, here we go then. Dog rose.
1.
Hawthorn.
Number 2.
Hazel.
Number 3.
Field maple.
Number 4.
Number 6? Number 6? What? Number 5? You think you need to go back to school?
No.
There's the end then. So how many is that?
That's 5.
So what does that make this hedge roughly?
500 years old.
Woo! So 500 years ago, Henry VIII were on the throne. And I was on it this morning. Oh, it's hard work all this, working out the age of an hedge. I've got to have a sit down.
I've already had one.
Oh, how about that for a view, eh? Now we've worked it out that that hedge over there is 500 years old. Have you wondered how all the different species end up in it?
No.
Well, I'm going to wander off. I won't be long. Collect a few bits and bobs, bring them back and explain it to you. Okay. All right? Now don't go away, will you? Because I won't be long. Oh.
Okay.
Right, here we go.
I think he's coming back.
There you go. That didn't take long, did it?
It took ages. I can say it did because you can't breathe.
Right, Sam, now I've been around just about every hedge and bush on this area and collected all these different seeds to explain something to you, okay? How they distribute the seeds, right?
Yeah.
And there's various groups, which I'll explain in a minute. Of course, one of the things, if you are an adult or a parent tree and you're producing all these seeds, you can't just drop them on the ground because they'll all grow up and they'll suffocate you, won't they?
Yeah.
So what you've got to do is think, how can I get them away from me so they grow somewhere else?
Why do they make so many seeds?
Oh, I mean, that's a good question. You mean like all them there and all them there?
Yeah.
I think the best way to describe that is, could you imagine, you know when a frog lays lots of frog spawn?
Yeah.
It lays tons and tons, thousands of eggs. And of all those thousands of eggs, one might make it to be a fully grown frog. Because everything eats it. Everything. It's like the hamburger in the food chain. Well, that's the same with seeds, because that seed has got to land in the perfect location on soil to strike it to grow. And then something might come along and eat it. So of all those thousands of seeds, one might make it. It's as simple as that. Yeah. Now, there's all different sorts. Now, these are the hitchhikers, right? This is the greater burdock. Now, if I pull them off there, look, they stick to, look, can you see, look, they stick to your clothes.
Yeah.
And they reckon the bloke who invented Velcro
Yeah.
got his idea from this. So I've been told. But what happens is an animal will come by, perhaps a fox or a rabbit, and get stuck. And he'll take it off, and then when he sits down to relax, he'll go, what's that? And throw it off. And of course, what he's doing is transplanting the seeds. And of course, the same goes for this. These are called cleaverers or goosegrass. It grows all over hedgerows. Look, again, look at it, it all sticks to you. Or it's called sticky billy. It's called goosegrass because apparently they used to feed it to the geese. But this is another one. So they're hitchhikers. Then you've got the takeaway. Now, the takeaway is trying to entice birds and say, oh, look at my juicy fruit, like the blackthorns. Now, these are not red yet, but they'll go red a bit later on. And of course, it's attracting the birds to come down, and they'll go, take it, and they'll fly off and eat it somewhere else. And then the seed will come out of the droppings. And the same goes for blackberries as well. In fact, I found a nice big juicy blackberry there on that one that you can eat if you want to. But yeah, do you want to eat it? I knew you'd like to. And the same goes for that. And the seeds pass through the bird and they'll go somewhere else. Now here you've got the sloe. They're not quite ripe yet, but these are sloes. It's a bit like miniature damsons. And what happens there, you'll get a bird will come and pick that and it'll fly away somewhere and eat it quietly, away from, you know, any enemies or prey. And of course, what it'll do is eat all the fleshy bit round the outside, and then the seed, it just drops well away from the parent plant. Then you've got the ones that rely on wind, right? Things like ash keys, and look at these ash keys. And they're a bit like, what happens, that they'll fall off in the autumn, and they go round and round and round and round, and go right away from the adult tree. And the same as a sycamore. Look at that sycamore. And they got like helicopters, and that is waiting for the wind to catch them, if I can get them to work. And that's a bit like helicopter. Hey, look, there he goes, you see. And then you've got other ones that get distributed by wind, and that's thistles and dandelions. And they have got what you call parachutes. Look, watch. Woo, there it goes. Here, I'll distribute those. The farmer will love us, won't he? So these are all the different ways. Oh, there's another one there. That's elders. And of course, again, that's waiting for blackbirds to feed on them. And these are all the ways that nature has introduced other things to take away the seed from the adult plant. Have you ever thought why some red, like that, and some are black, like the one you've just eaten? Well, birds have got their eye in for that, and they know exactly anything that's red, they'll home in on. Right, whereas the black gives off ultraviolet light, and the birds can actually pick up this ultraviolet light. These, although they're green now, these sloes will be black a little bit later on, and blackberries will, and they'll pick them up with the ultraviolet light, and away they go. Marvellous when you think about it.
Yeah.
So that's how things are distributed. It's as simple as that. Hey, there's something over here I want to show you. An old, if I said to you an old coppice, do you know what one is?
No.
I'm going to show you in this hedge. When I went off to find that lot, I found it over here. Can I go and show it you?
Yeah.
Come on then. Oh.
Wow! I would love to have this in my back garden.
What would you do with this?
Like a tree house?
I've got to agree, it'll make a great tree house. But I tell you what, if you look closer at it, it's an ash tree, and it's a bit of the living history of this hedgerow. It's a very old hedgerow. And if you could go back over 200 years ago, this would have been a small ash tree, and whoever owned the land at the time perhaps wanted posts or rails for his fencing to keep his cattle in or out. And they would have chopped it down, and what it's done by doing that, that sends up lots of shoots from the bottom. And these are the shoots it sent up. And I reckon this is about 250 years old. What do you reckon? Pretty old, isn't it? Marvellous. Beautiful. Right, am I leaving you there in your treehouse, or are you coming with me?
Come with you.
Come on then. That's it, here we go. Well, it ain't about you, Sam. I'm ready for home.
Yeah, thanks for a wonderful day. I've learned so much about hedgerows,
Good.
and I'm coming here in the autumn to pick those blackberries.
And then there are a lot. Tell you what, that's got me thinking. Ready for your tea?
Yeah.
Come on then.